those stations are insane. They haven't been listening. 88.5 FM is totally different. That's why true music lovers make a big switch. And because you have a weird taste, 88.5 FM is your only station.
From Royal Communications Incorporated, good morning and welcome to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2025, and I'm Newton Tokpah presenting. Stories we're following this morning. Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph proposes audit for all government institutions that receive USAID funds between 2018 and 2025, says it would ensure transparency and accountability. One day after blooded motor accident in Central Monrovia, Liberia National Police announced restrictions which prohibits motorcyclists from flying to the Boulevard Junction, Central Monrovia, and other points around Monrovia. Dozens of fertility healthcare center nurses staged protests against management for over 8 months on paid salaries and benefits that protest the nurses' size financial neglect. Away from Liberia, so Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has told G20 foreign ministers that a commitment to multilateralism and international law is vital to solving global crises. The foreign development and the news bulletin at our package will take a very short break. To be right back. Thanks for rejoining us at this juncture. We join Cornelius Johnson for the news bulletin.
Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph has urged the Senate to mandate the General Auditing Commission to conduct a full audit of government institutions that receive USAID funds between 2018 and 2025. The request made by the Montserrat County Senator was outlined in a written communication. He also noted that the audit will protect national revenue and expenditures to ensure transparency and accountability. Senator Sir Joseph also emphasized the need for government to provide a clear breakdown of funds received and spent, including details on budget allocations. Speaking in an interview Thursday, Senator Sir Joseph stressed that citizens have the right to know how public resources are being managed. According to him, prevention of economic hardship can be made possible with reduction of salaries and benefits for government officials, which he said will allow for more resources to be directed towards public welfare and essential services. The senator reaffirmed his support for an audit, stating that it is necessary for the betterment of both the citizens and the country. The Liberia National Police has issued a no-go zone ban on motorcyclists which mandates all motorcyclists to avoid flying between Boulevard Junction, Central Monrovia, as well as from Freeport to Monrovia. Deputy Police Director for Operations, Councillor Nelson Freeman, made the announcement Thursday when he phoned in on state radio, adding that the measures is due to security concerns and public safety risks. Councillor Freeman also said the new restriction is in response to rising incidents involving motorcyclists and growing insecurity concerns in and around Monrovia. On Wednesday, at least one motorcyclist was reported dead and 3 others critically injured after a speeding truck brake-filled sewage truck mashed a motorbike and smashed another jeep at the Johnson and Water Streets intersection police checkpoint. The deadly incident sparked violent action among motorcyclists and angry individuals who were seen removing police checkpoints, demanding or dismantling security booths and blocking major streets. Several persons have since accused the Liberia National Police of failing to properly inspect and regulate vehicles plying the streets and erecting checkpoints at every counter or corner to explode money from tricycle and motorbike riders. The Liberia National Police Deputy Police Liberia Police National Deputy Director for Operations emphasized that the ban remains in effect until motorcyclists in the affected areas comply with established security measures. Authorities have warned that enforcement will be strict to maintain order and protect public safety. Meanwhile, Imbato, president of the Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia, John Kay, has condemned what he describes as violations carried out by motorcyclists across Monrovia and its environs. On Wednesday, several motorcyclists took to the streets of Monrovia in response to the death of one of their colleagues who were tragically killed by a sewage truck driver at the intersection of Water and Johnson Streets. Speaking during a press conference Thursday, Kenyon condemned the actions of the motorcyclists, referring to them as gangsters and individuals who fail to abide by rules and order. He emphasized that the motorcyclists' action undermined the rule of law and pointed out that the action was carried out by a small number of motorcyclists who chose to be violent. Kenyon also issued an apology to the Liberia National Police for what he called disturbance and called for strict enforcement of regulations set by the police. However, several motorcyclists across Monrovia have expressed total disappointment in the sections made by the Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Unions of Liberia Imbato President John Kay. They accuse him of siding with the government to protect his illegal stay as president of the union. Several nurses at the Fidelity Health Center staged a peaceful assembly on Thursday demanding the immediate payment of overdue salaries and benefits. Speaking to reporters at the protest ground, the nurses revealed that they are owed between 8 to 10 months worth of unpaid salaries. The demonstration, organized by the Nurses Union, attracted dozens of health professionals who voiced their frustration over the ongoing financial neglect, which has persisted for more than 8 months. The nurses, who claim of working tirelessly at the health center for patient care, expressed total disappointment over the lack of communication from management regarding their wages payment. They noted that due to the delay of salaries payment, many of their colleagues have reported severe financial constraints, with some struggling to meet basic living expenses and support their families. The protest took place outside the center main entrance, with participants holding signs and banners demanding immediate action to address the salary blockage and restore promised benefits. The nurses added that despite being repeatedly assured that the salaries will be processed and benefits reinstated over 8 to 10 months, no tangible changes have occurred. Labor unions and workers' union groups are expressing their solidarity with the nurses, calling for increased oversight of healthcare facilities and better protections for workers, especially those in direct patient care roles. The Ministry of Finance says the government has approved US 3.26 million as a contingency reserve fund in the fiscal year 2025 budget as the only source of unallocated funds from which the ministry can source additional funds to address unforeseen spending demand. During a recent memo signed by Minister of Finance Augustine Gaffan, announced the issuance of a strict directive to government spending entities to prioritize important issues as the scarcity of resources remains a significant reality. He emphasized the importance of remaining mindful of limited resources, adding that all ministries, agencies, and commissions must make adequate use of available resources. Minister Gafan's instructions to all government spending entities is aimed at encouraging adherence to the approval or approved budgets for fiscal year 2025 to exercise fiscal prudence in what he describes as a challenging fiscal environment. He, however, informed government institutions that the budget is a projection until revenue is actually raised through the efforts, dedication, integrity, and sacrifice of the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and all stakeholders involved in revenue generation. The plenary of the majority bloc of the House of Representatives has summoned officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Liberia National Police, and the Liberia Immigration Service to appear before the body on Tuesday, February 25. The group has also invited Chinese national Michelle Xiao to appear before that AUKUS party. Following the scheduled appearance, members of the majority bloc on Thursday expressed empathy with Mobile Daily, the alleged victim of the Chinese national torture and attempted murder. The investigation follows a formal complaint from Agri County Senator as Electoral District 2 Representative Alpha Jones, who cited Article 21D of the 1986 Constitution of Liberia. The article strictly prohibits torture, inhumane treatment, and unlawful detention, emphasizing that any violators of the provision shall face criminal penalties, while victims shall have access to civil remedies. The alleged incident occurred on January 13 at the Conquertown residence of Michelle Xiao, a Chinese national. The resident judge of Criminal Court A will begin jury selection for the high-profile corruption case involving former Finance Minister Samuel Toy and several others. The jury selection is scheduled to commence Monday, February 24, at the Temple of Justice. The case will be presided over by George Roosevelt Willie, the resident judge of Criminal Court A, who recently convened a pre-trial conference at the Temple of Justice. During the conference, both the prosecution and defense agreed to exchange relevant documents in preparation for the trial. The defense has requested a jury trial, a legal right under Liberia's criminal procedure laws. The charges in the case include economic sabotage, misuse of public funds, theft, illegal disbursement, and criminal conspiracy. These charges are levied against Toy, former acting Justice Minister, Councillor Yanti Toy, and former officials of the George Weah administration. George Willie was appointed to oversee the case following the recusal of George Plamo Dixon. Judge Dixon stepped down after Supreme Court Judge Justice in Chambers Yamin Wese instructed his withdrawal. In response, Chief Justice Yanin Ayo reassigned the case to Judge Willie, who currently serves as resident judge of Criminal Court A. His appointment is expected to ensure effective judicial oversight as the trial progresses. Meta, the parent company for Facebook, has announced new regulations and restrictions which have provided 30 days grace period for all live stream videos on Facebook. According to a circular issued as of February 2025, all live videos will be automatically deleted from live streaming platforms after 30 days. Additionally, Facebook added that the existing live videos that were previously saved on Facebook will also be deleted after 90 days. The update, according to Facebook, means that any live videos uploaded since the inception of a TV platform will be removed after 90 days. These changes are part of an update to Facebook live video storage policy designed to better align with industrial standards and provide more respect for traditional media formats. As an alternative, Facebook encourages users to download their individual videos by selecting those they wish to save to their devices. For bulk downloads, users can retrieve all their videos in a single zip file available on both mobile and web. Facebook also offers cloud transfer options, allowing users to directly transfer the live videos to cloud storage. President Joseph Boakai has lifted the suspension of Madam Deviato Brown Lassana as chairperson of the National Elections Commission. According to an executive mansion release, the decision was reached following a high-level meeting on Wednesday, February 18, at the executive mansion. The release also indicated that meeting was attended by the National Elections Commission Board of Commissioners, the Economic Community of West African States Ambassador to Liberia, and senior officials from the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. Executive Mansion further mentioned that reversal of dismissal actions previously taken against certain National Elections Commission employees was reached during the meeting. According to the release, President Boakai has emphasized the need for unity and professionalism within the National Elections Commission, urging commissioners to work collaboratively and maintain public confidence in the institutions. He called for renewed efforts to restore harmony between the commission leadership and its staffs stressing the importance of a stable and effective electoral body. The reinstatement of David Hector Brown Lassana comes after 60 days ahead of the conduct of the Nimba County senatorial by-election. David Mubu, the man recently tortured and brutalized on the orders of Chinese national for attempting to steal his solar panel, is calling on the government for justice. In an interview Thursday, David claimed that the Chinese national named Michael Shao attacked him over a missing solar panel from his company yard. According to David, after being accused of theft, the man pepper sprayed his eyes or had oil on his skin and released his dogs to attack him. He further alleged that the Chinese national instructed his workers to step or strip him naked and leave him in the sun, subjecting him to inhumane treatment. David and his family on Thursday took the complaint to the John Chambers, appealing for government intervention in what they described as severe abuse and mistreatment. And the Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture has ended a one-day visit to the fertilizers production plant owned and operated by the Labor Sanitation Incorporated in Quarter Town behind the College of Agriculture and Forestry in Findale in the township of Louisiana. Speaking in an interview shortly after the visit, Minister David Akwe expressed satisfaction that a Liberian company has begun the production of organic fertilizers instead of using chemicals for agricultural purposes in the country. Minister Akwe stressed the need for private-public partnership with the Labor Sanitation Incorporated in order to produce more fertilizer for farmers in Liberia. For his part, the Chief Executive Officer of the Labor Sanitation Incorporated, Emmanuel Howard, said it is his dream to supply all the Liberian farmers with fertilizers needed for farming. Howard appealed to the Liberian government for support in order to increase production of organic fertilizers for farmers in the country rather than relying on imported chemicals. The visit was concluded by a guided tour of the Liberia Sanitation Incorporated fertilizer plant, including its production sites, warehouses, and storage facilities. Well, that's the shape of the news bulletin. It's back to you, Newton, for the continuation of King's Newsroom.
Cornelius Johnson with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. If you just joined us, a reminder, listening to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2025. And I'm Newton Tokpah presenting. Stories we're following this morning. Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph proposes audit for all government institutions that received USAID funds between 2018 and 2025, says it would ensure transparency and accountability. 1 day after blooded motor accident in Central Monrovia, Liberian National Police announced restrictions which prohibits motorcyclists from flying through Boulevard Junction, Central Monrovia, and other points around Monrovia. Dozens of fertility healthcare center nurses staged protests against management for over 8 months on paid salaries and benefits. The protesting nurses cites financial neglect. Away from Liberia, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has told G20 foreign ministers that a commitment to multilateralism and international law is vital to solving global crisis. We'll take another break and we'll come back to bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Thanks for joining us. On our first development, Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph has urged the Senate to mandate the General Auditing Commission to conduct a full audit of government institutions that received USAID funds between 2018 and 2025. The request made by the Montserrat County Senator was outlined in a written communication, and also noted that the audit will protect national revenue and expenditures to ensure transparency and accountability. Senator Joseph also emphasized the need for the government to provide a clear breakdown of funds received and spent, including details on budget allocations. Speaking in an interview Thursday, Senator Sir Joseph stressed that citizens have the right to know how public resources are being managed.
Today, as Senator of Mosul County, bearing the highest number in the country, I requested the Honorable Librarian Senate to approve an audit of all implementing agencies and ministries of the government of the Republic of Nigeria who are in connection with resources coming from the USAID. Let me first of all state this. I want to give a special thanks and appreciation to the government and the people of the United States for the support to the Liberian people and all that they have been doing. We, as the people representatives, are requesting this audit so that we can know the gap. As we speak, USAID is implementing programs in the health sector, in the educational sector, and in the agriculture sector. They are supporting the Ministry of Finance and other agencies. What we want to know, how much of that money that came to Liberia that directly supported our citizens in the program, and how can we now revisit our spending as a government, considering the present gap. We have, during our conversations with the Ministry of Health, with the action taken by users suspending support to Liberia. Presently, there are gaps within the health sector, within the agriculture sector, within the educational sector. We need to cover those gaps as a country. So we need to, in order to know this, to do this, we need to first of all know how much of that money directly supported our national budget and the people that are directly to our citizens. After getting those information, then the next stage, the second phase of this, is to sit as a country to record the national budget and visit the budget and say, don't have a cost. For instance, we can say we should reduce our salaries, we should cut down on gas, we can cut down on other things, other expenditure, traveling and other things, so that it can make up those gaps in the meantime while the country move forward.
He's Mosurada County Senator Sir Joseph. The Liberian National Police has issued a no-go zone ban on motorcyclists, which mandates all motorcyclists to avoid planning between Boulevard Junction, Central Monrovia, as well as from Freeport to Monrovia. Deputy Police Director for Operations, Councillor Nelson Freeman made the announcement Thursday when he phoned in on state radio, adding that the measure is due to security concerns and public safety risks. Councillor Freeman also said that the new restriction is in response to rising accidents involving motorcyclists and growing insecurity concerns in and around Monrovia. On Wednesday, at least one motorcyclist was reportedly dead and 3 others critically injured after a speeding and brake-filled sewage truck mashed a motorbike and smashed another jeep at the junction and Water Street intersection police checkpoint. The deadly incident sparked violent action amongst motorcyclists and angry individuals who were seen removing police checkpoints, dismantling security booths, and blocking major streets.
Well, we are out of the number a little bit. As you may be aware, usually the police will do deployment to various locations in Monrovia or at various locations in Monrovia to deter motorcyclists who are not in full compliance and other road users. But today we step up a little bit as a result of an incident, numerous incidents, so to speak, violent incidents that have been occurring around Monrovia. But yesterday was the straw that broke the camel's back. So a truck driver, while climbing the Crown Hill on the Broad Street yesterday, apparently fell on the hill, probably as a result of mechanical default or his ability to properly drive his vehicle. While maneuvering to let his vehicle in, he ran into a cyclist on the Johnson Street, almost to the slipway, to the bridge at the bottom of the foot. And as a result thereof, the motorcyclist went unconscious. The police already took him up to the hospital and he got pronounced dead upon arrival. Before we knew it, a band of motorcyclists in their numbers, 200 to 300, took to the streets and started to run behind police officers who are assigned everywhere in town to the extent of vandalizing police infrastructures that we got out on the road. You might be aware that we built this state-of-the-art booths around town, the one at Pamoma, the one here at Goreko, see the level of damage that was done. All the police barricades were in town, they started to remove them by foot and started attacking police officers. To begin with, the National Police regret the death of this young man, and we're in sympathy with the family. But the act of lawlessness yesterday was unprecedented, even though there have been numerous incidents of lawlessness. But the extent to which they took it yesterday, where they were targeting police officers in every looking corner, we thought was on the extreme, and we had to assess the situation properly. The police, being an intelligence-led institution, continue to get tip-off from our intelligence sources that there are possibility of the guys regrouping and causing more havoc on society. So as a result thereof, we got this temporary measure put into place this morning. We are restricting the movement of all commercial motorcyclists within these zones that we declared sometimes ago as compliance zone. You may be aware that about 6, 7, 8 months ago, I think sometimes last May to be specific, we had a lot of engagement with leadership. So we had these places that we cut off, the Bolivar junction to Central Monrovia through the Tokpah Bolivar corridor, the Freeport to Central Monrovia.
He is Deputy Police Director for Operations, Councillor Nelson Freeman. Meanwhile, Imbato, President of the Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Unions of Liberia, John Keyon, has condemned what he describes as violations carried out by motorcyclists across Monrovia and its environs. On Wednesday, several motorcyclists took to the streets of Monrovia in response to the death of one of their colleagues, who was tragically killed by a sewage truck driver at the intersection of Water and Johnson Streets. Speaking during a press conference Thursday, Keyon condemned the actions of the motorcyclists, referring to them as gangsters and individuals who fail to abide by rules and order. He emphasized that the motorcyclists' action undermined the rule of law and pointed out that the action was carried out by a small number of motorcyclists who choose to be violent.
We find it necessary to clarify our position and condemn the violent action that was carried out by a small group of individuals claiming to be representing commercial backers in the streets. Therefore, to strongly condemn the unlawful action carried out by a group of motorcyclists who vandalized police booths, dismantled checkpoints around the Scarlet Junction and other parts of Monrovia. Such action not only disrupt public order, but also damage the reputation of hardworking and law-abiding motorcyclists who rely on their daily work to support their families. The Liberian National Police plays a crucial role in ensuring public safety, and their presence at strategic locations is necessary to regulate movement and prevent criminal activities. As a direct representative of commercial motorcycle and tricycle operators in Liberia, we do not condone any form of lawlessness, and we sincerely apologize to the Liberian National Police, LNP, for the unfortunate incident. We wish to make it abundantly clear that the North Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia has no involvement in planning or executing these acts.
He is Imbato's president of the Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Unions of Liberia, John Keyon. Several nurses at the Fertility Healthcare Center staged a peaceful assembly on Thursday, demanding the immediate payment of overdue salaries and benefits. Speaking to reporters at the protest ground, the nurses revealed that they are owed between 8 to 10 months worth of unpaid salaries. The demonstration, organized by the Nurses Union, attracted dozens of healthcare professionals who voiced their frustration over the ongoing financial neglect which has persisted for more than 8 months. The nurses, who claim to be working tirelessly at the Healthcare Center for Patient Care, expressed total disappointment over the lack of communication from management regarding their wages payment. They noted due to delay of salaries payment, many of their colleagues have reported severe financial strains, with some struggling to meet basic living expenses and support their families.
We are here to report our salaries. We are here to our salaries. Remember, we want 8 months, some go 1 year, some go 9 months. So we have our salary. So the work is going with our salary. So many times, when you go there, you look less at it. doing that, we found ourselves, 80% of ourselves, this is last year. You should be out for last year, then we almost say for January to February. So you should go up for last year. He said they will come to us, they will tell the company, this one around, you want this one, labor, this is probably the part of the labor.
We decided to have a go-slow because we haven't paid for the past 8 months, some 10 months. So that's why after engaging the CEO on the first occasion, there hasn't been any good result when it's nice. I was like, nobody had come to apply. How did you in those exactly what's reporting? When it comes to salary, you see that you don't have to see them. So we decided as a group to have a go-slow. In each other way, we are very sure that we're going to suffer. So we get on the see which no transportation is not the way. And it's not the way you get to the next. You have to be asking your friend, you have to do transportation, you don't know when you have to do the
Some nurses at the Fertility Healthcare Center who staged a peaceful assembly on Thursday, speaking there. Well, folks, on that note, with the time half past the hour, if you're just joining us, a reminder you're listening to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this morning. Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph proposes audit for all government institutions that receive USAID funds between 2018 and 2025, says it would ensure transparency and accountability. One day after blooded motor accident in Central Monrovia, Liberia National Police announced restrictions which prohibits motorcyclists from flying through Boulevard Junction, Central Monrovia, and other points around Monrovia. Dozens of Fertility Healthcare Center nurses staged protests against management for over 8 months on paid salaries and benefits. The protesting nurses cite financial neglect. Away from Liberia, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has told G20 foreign ministers that a commitment to multilateralism and international law is vital to solving global crisis. We take another break. We'll come back and bring you more forces. David Momo, the man recently tortured and brutalized on the orders of the Chinese national for attempting to steal his solar panel, is calling on the government or the Ministry of Justice. In an interview Thursday, David claimed that the Chinese national named Michael Shio attacked him over a missing solar panel from his company yard. According to David, after being accused of theft and property, the man pepper sprayed his eyes, poured hot oil on his skin, and released his dogs to attack him. Planning.
My friend said I get on that, so much this, so that we go to that, so I'm going to start security,
He's David Momo, the man who was recently tortured and brutalized on the orders of the Chinese national Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture has ended a one-day visit for to the fertilizers production plant owned and operated by the Library Sanitation Incorporated in Town behind the College of Agriculture and Forestry in Fendale, in the township of Louisiana. Speaking in an interview shortly after the visit, Minister David Akwed expressed satisfaction that a Liberian company has begun the production of organic fertilizer instead of using chemicals for agricultural purposes in the country. Minister Akwed stressed the need for private-public partnership with the Library Sanitation Incorporated in order to produce more fertilizer for farmers in Liberia.
I am happy that Liberians can come together to start thinking, innovating on how we can solve most of the problem needed in the agriculture sector. This is 100% organic fertilizer where we don't have chemical in it. And this is the kind of thing we want to take to our farmers in the field, more especially those who are involved into vegetable production. Like this year, in our work plan, we are targeting some huge land for vegetable production. If we can have this thing happening in our country, it means that we don't have to go outside trying to buy chemical fertilizer and give it to our farmers. We can just link our farmers to these people here. Once they can produce the organic fertilizer here, we link our farmers to them so that they'll be able to get this organic fertilizer for much cheaper price and do their production. So I'm extremely impressed that Liberians can start thinking in this kind of innovative manner. I am not 100% satisfied because there are a lot of work that we need to actually do here. I was just telling them that what we need to do is to form a partnership with them. We as government form a partnership with them in the private sector. We call that public-private partnership so that the government can begin to subsidize this kind of work and make them produce more. Because if we want more vegetable on our market, it means that we need to start from somewhere here, get organic fertilizer done, give it to our farmers for our farmers to produce more vegetables so that you and myself can begin to see more vegetable made in Liberian vegetable on the markets. And what made the ministry even more interested into vegetable production is this. It sounds so funny if we in Liberia can produce vegetable in our country. Oranges, for example, those are fruits, right? Pepper, yellow ball, this kind of vegetable in our country, we can't just produce them. But we have to go to Guinea, we have to go to Ivory Coast, we have to go to other countries. If you go to the airport, every time you see Air Morocco land here, go there. They are bringing vegetable into this country, sending them to supermarkets. Why we in Liberia can't do our own production here?
For his part, the Chief Executive Officer of the Library Sanitation Incorporated, Emmanuel Ho, said it is his dream to supply all Liberian farmers with fertilizers needed for farming. Ho appealed to the Liberian government for support in order to increase production of organic fertilizer for farmers in the country rather than relying on imported chemicals.
You know, we have been in the waste industry for the last 20 years as an institution, Library Sanitation. And we believe in the transformation of waste. We have had it difficult in transforming or recycling the waste over time. But the simplest we could do was to apply for a little grant with Growth Accelerator. They were supported by the UNTP. And we had this vision, my late brother George Howe, who passed away, we had this vision of us not just throwing the waste away, not just throwing, because we believe that waste is wealth. So we applied to Growth Accelerator and told them we want to get into the organic fertilizer industry, the compost, to make the compost out of the waste. So we got a little loan of a grant of 18,000 from the Growth Accelerator, and we ought to build this place. The land is ours. We have our own land, Library Sanitation, our own land, and so we did this, and that's why we need it. We intend with time to transform all of the waste into usable materials. All of these things are not to be thrown away. They are job creating, they are self-sustaining for families around, and they help clean the environment, like the minister said. We got into it because of the passion of us making sure that we can transform the waste into much more sustainable things than polluting the environment. At present, we have a total of 12 employees here. Our goes to 100. Firstly, that is the reason why I'm so gracious for the presence of Mr. Akko here with us today. Government is the biggest supporter of all we do as citizens of our country. And the Ministry of Agriculture is driving the first part of the arrest agenda, which is agriculture. And what I want the government to do is to help us move from this little stage we are to a next level wherein our capacity will be built, and then we'll be able to expand into our production.
He's Emmanuel Howe, the Chief Executive Officer of the Library Sanitation Incorporated. Speaking earlier, you heard the voice of the Deputy Minister for Planning and Development at the Ministry of Agriculture, David Akwe. And finally, away from Liberia, so Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has told G20 foreign ministers that the commitment to multilateralism and international law is vital to solving global crises. His comments follow growing concern about the Trump administration's America First policy, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio boycotting the meeting and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying he will not attend next week's gathering of G20 finance ministers. Rubio said he will not coddle anti-Americanism, while Bessent said he had other commitments in Washington. South Africa is the first African state to lead the G20, hoping to advance the interests of developing nations in talks with the world's richest states. G20 consists of 19 countries, along with the African Union and the European Union, and makes up of more than 80% of the global economy and 2/3 of the world population. Well, folks, on that notice, I would like to go home on this edition of King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home, let's remind you of stories we've been following. Maserati County Senator Sir Joseph proposes audit for all government institutions that received USAID funds between 2018 and 2025, says it would ensure transparency and accountability. One day after a blooded motor accident in Central Monrovia, Liberia National Police announced restrictions which prohibits motorcyclists from flying through Boulevard Junction, Central Monrovia, and other points around Monrovia. Dozens of fertility healthcare center nurses staged protests against management for over 8 months on paid salaries and benefits. The protesting nurses cite financial neglect. And away from Liberia, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has told G20 foreign ministers that a commitment to multilateralism and international law is vital to solving global crises. These are stories we follow here on King's News. Cornelius Johnson sat at controls and brought us the news bulletin. We'd like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, editors, correspondents who helped in making this package. Our sources on behalf of the entire production team. My name is Newton Tokpah. I presented this edition of the program. But better still, join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we'll be here with another splendid and intriguing edition of the program. Thanks for listening and watching. Have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.